Welcome everyone. Just a reminder, these videos are really geared towards the absolute beginner photographer. So if you've already been shooting a while, you already understand what ISO is, and I'm not going to show you anything new here. But for everyone who's new, hopefully this will make some things clear. So ISO, what is it? Sometimes you'll see it marked as ASA on a camera. My Olympus OM1 has ASA written on it, but ISO, ASA, same thing, pretty much. So all it means is it's a measure of the film's sensitivity to light. And if you're talking about digital, then it's the sensor's sensitivity to light. But we're talking film. So the way it works is to add a stop of light, you double the number, and to take away a stop of light, you minus by half. So if we look at these, I've got a selection of films here so we can see. This is a 200 speed film, so ISO 200. Okay. If I want another stop of light, I double that number, so it's 400. And then I've got a 400 speed film. So this is one stop of light more sensitive than this film. Okay, so if I want less sensitivity, then I'll find a film that's half that number for one stop less sensitive to light. So half 200, 100. So I've got 100 speed film. So this is how it works. Each doubling of the number or halving of the number is a stop of light either way. I know that might be kind of difficult to comprehend right now because it means nothing on its own almost. But when we get to the exposure triangle and we put ISO, shutter speed and aperture all together, it all makes sense. But for now, just get used to stops of light. So why don't we just choose the most sensitive film and then that's fine, right? No, it's not really. So here's maybe the most sensitive film we can get hold of at the moment, which is 3200 ISO. Now this is great because you can shoot in low light, you can get fast shutter speeds in brighter situations, you can close your aperture way down and do nice landscape shots with deep focus. But it comes at a cost, and this is a running theme in film photography. Everything has a trade-off. So in a digital camera, you can say, oh, okay, well, I want this f number and this shutter speed, so I'll just choose the ISO that lets me have that, and the exposure be good. But in film, once you've put your film in and selected what ISO you're going to be shooting at, you're stuck with it, so you can't do that. So this is the highest you can go, but why wouldn't you choose it? Well, a number of reasons. It's quite expensive, but typically the higher the ISO, the more grain you're going to get in a film. So this is a really heavy, chunky grained film, which if you like grain, then great. Not everyone does, and so this would be a really bad choice. If you're out shooting on a sunny day, you might not want this because you're going to be stuck at a very closed down aperture. You're probably not going to be able to get away with anything that's like a really shallow focus, where the background's all blurred. This probably won't let you get there. So you go for a higher ISO. So here we are, we've got a 50. This is ISO 50. So this would be really good in a sunny situation, but it would be really bad in like a gig, let's say, a concert. So yeah, we've just got to get used to that that headspace of going, okay, I'm going to shoot with this ISO today. This is what I'm shooting at. And maybe that'll put you off, but actually it's really, really good. It really does force you to get more creative with what you do and makes you think about what you're doing more. Now, this is going to be great for nighttime. This is going to be great for daytime. But it doesn't mean you can't use them interchangeably, as long as you're thoughtful about it and you think. So, high ISO, lots of grain. Low ISO, very, very fine grain. So, maybe you want to go out night shooting, but you don't want this really, really heavy grain that a 3200 is going to give you. So, you choose a lighter film. Let's say you go a bit mad and you choose a 50 speed film. You can still shoot this at night, but you have to, you're going to need a tripod, and you have to think about the incredibly long shutter speeds you're going to need. But you can still do it. It's not an issue, or 100, 200, whatever. But so here's the common ones anyway. Here's the common ISOs. So we've got 50, and then 100, 200, 400. This is an 800, and then we've got 3200. Now you might notice that there's no 1600 in there, which would be the double of 800. There isn't a 1600 speed film that I know of that's manufactured, so we're kind of stuck without that range. That doesn't mean we can't get there though. So we can take a 400 speed. Let's pretend this is black and white. It's not, but let's say this is a black and white film, and I want a 1600 speed film. I can push this to that, and we'll get into pushing another time. But just for now, understand that even though there is a gap there, there are ways of getting there. But the ISO is still whatever it originally was. Okay, so these are your normal speeds. These are all one stop of light. Okay, 50, 100, 200, the double every time. But you can get third of stops, you can get half stops, you can get 2/3 of a stop. So here I've got some other films. We've got some, let's have a look. We've got a ISO 64. So, you could put that there. That will go in there somewhere. We've got a ISO 80 from Ilford. So that could go in there. So we're looking at third of stops here. What else have I got? I've got there's a Portra 160. So that would go in there. I've got a Kodak Double X, which outdoors is a 250. So that goes in there. We've got a 500 speed film. This is 500T. That goes there. And then on the bottom end of things, we've got some crazy films. We've got some ISO 6, and I've got an ISO 3 here. So I mean, these are kind of crazy, but just so you know, you can get the third stops and everything. But for the most part, you're talking about your typical ISO ranges. And I would advise, if you're just starting out, go for a 400. 400 speed is a good midway between everything, especially in the UK. Like if you're in the UK like me, 400 is pretty good. It's pretty general use ISO. So yeah, and in color you're not really gonna notice that much grain anyway. In black and white, you might see some, but not all that much. But just so you know as well, there are a couple of variable ISO films. So these are Lomochrome turquoise and Lomochrome purple. These are ISO between 100 and 400. So you can set your ISO anywhere in that range and you'll get a good image from it. Whereas some films are much more sensitive to that. So I think these film Ferrania films are quite sensitive to good exposure. So if you're off a little bit, it's quite noticeable apparently. I'm not sure yet because I still haven't shot with this. But yeah, there you go. There's an introduction to ISO. Like I said, it will make more sense when we put all three elements of the exposure triangle together. But that's that for now. Bye.